Hello. Just turned my fan off there, left it turned on. I do apologise for that. I was asked a question not long ago about the kind of videos that I'm making, and one of the suggestions was that I create videos answering the current RPG, TTRPG discourse, what's happening with the hobby and what have you. Truth of the matter is, there's plenty of other people out there that can do a much better job than I can of breaking down what's happened. I'm not a journalist. I'm just here, just making videos, having a bit of fun. And while some of that discourse I don't get directly involved in, but I do read about, I don't think it's really the kind of thing that I want to be talking about on my channel. It's probably a bit weird me making a video about the stuff that I don't want to be making videos about. But I just thought I'd just share my thoughts just very, very briefly. Of course, recently you've got the big stuff like what happened with the OGL with D&D last year, and AI art in games and stuff like that. And just for the record, I don't get involved with it. I don't like AI art. I find it extremely soulless. Or if I ever come across that, I try to avoid it as much as possible. So TTRPG discourse, it kind of passes me by quite a lot. Sometimes it's interesting to read stuff, but a lot of it kind of devolves into arguments, and it's more like my opinion's correct. And I remember getting involved with a conversation a couple of years ago, and somebody told me that I was wrong, and I was like, I'm not wrong. I really do have those opinions, because it's literally just a point of view. It's this art form that we play, and it's completely subjective in many ways. So I don't get involved, and then I've also realised that a lot of the stuff that people are arguing, or arguing probably a bit unfair, but talking about, having heated discussions about, I was talking about 20, 30 years ago. We were talking about it in the 90s. I remember reading letters in magazines like Valkyrie and what have you, about issues and problems, about disagreeing with what have you, and also when I was frequenting forums 20, 25 years ago. I've been on the internet since 1999. So yeah, I've had a lot of these conversations before, and they come and go, and they recycle. And a lot of the time, it's really good to have the conversations. It kind of reminds people about certain important aspects that I think are important about role playing. But then sometimes some of the arguments just come up, and a lot of it's just like outrage, like, oh no, it's a black woman on the front cover of the role playing game that I'm about to buy. What about men, white men? And it's like, what, you mean the white men that you've had in your covers for the last 40 years? You mean those white men? Mate, it's a game in the imagination. If you don't like it, just imagine it's not there. And stuff like that, which I find completely pointless. It's literally just either point scoring, or it's just grabbing the attention because of the outrage. So, yeah, I do try to avoid that. So, I don't try to avoid it, I do avoid it. So, and besides that, I don't care what you do at your table. You're not doing it wrong. If you're having fun, then you're not doing it wrong. If you're not hurting anybody or promoting some kind of ideology that's going to help damage or destroy the world, you can do what you want at your table. I remember a long time ago, I was at the UK Games Expo when it was still on the, or before it moved to the NEC. I was having a conversation with a friend of a friend of a friend. One of those conversations that you meet up at a convention. And we were talking about the way that I was running Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and he told me that I was running it wrong. He said, "You don't run it like that." I beg your pardon. It's like, no, you don't run it like that. You've got this sort of grim thing, and the characters got to suffer and blah blah blah. And I'm like, what? Why are you telling me how to run my imaginary game in my head, in my own house with my own group? I know what my group wants. I know what kind of game that I want to run. So yeah, you know what I mean. Conversations like that are utterly pointless. And edition wars as well. Edition wars annoy me. This is turning into a bit of a rant, isn't it? Really? Yeah, edition wars annoy me because you play your game as you want. Things change, and if you don't like it, well, you've already got all the games that you already own. Nobody's coming around to your house to kick your door in, to set fire to the games, and demand at gunpoint that you play this new edition. I'm sorry that things haven't gone the way that you wanted them to, but things have changed, and you just deal with it. You just deal with it and carry on. And screaming out into the void, and a lot of the time people screaming out into the void, they want the attention. They've got a soapbox, they want the attention, and they want people to come and listen to them, mainly because they've probably monetised the channel or they've got something to sell. So I haven't got time for that. There are a lot of people out there with legitimate concerns, and a lot of things like the OGL and the stuff that it affected the hobby as a whole, especially small publishers who relied on the OGL to get their work out. But a lot of the time, yeah, a lot of it's just a lot of it's recycled, and a lot of the conversations come around again. So no, I don't. I don't get involved with a lot of the discourse. I don't get involved with. I'm not going to report on the news or what's happening in the news today or who said what about who. That doesn't interest me. I am literally just going to waffle on about what I like. So, and if you come along for the ride, then that's absolutely fantastic. So there you have it. My camera moved then, and I think it's because I've actually got it mounted on my Lord of the Rings helmet that I've actually got here, and I can see it slowly slipping, and I don't want to damage it. So I'm going to sign off there before I damage my equipment in the name of videos. So anyway, thanks very much. Ta-ra.